My name is Virginia Jaramillo, and I'm an artist. I was interested in art before I even knew I was interested in art. My father gave me my first art book when I was around 11 and a half or 12. It was how to draw figures, and in there were nudes, of course, but it was all in drawing, you know. And my father said, "But this is art." I was born in El Paso, Texas. My family moved from El Paso to Los Angeles when I was about 2.5 or 3 years old, and we've never been back there. At that time, in the late 50s, it was just so incredibly beautiful. Yeah. The beach, the mountains, anything you wanted was there. I found out that they had a terrific arts program. Just incredible, really serious, like university-level art classes. Jackson Pollock had attended that school. Philip Guston had attended that school. And also there was this Mexican artist from Mexico, Siqueiros, who had attended that school. And I said, wow, what a legacy. I want to go to Manual Arts High School too. There was a period of time when I did use my first initial in order to get into exhibitions. Because at that time, if you were a woman, they usually didn't regard the paintings as serious. When I was 18 years old, I submitted some work to the Los Angeles County Museum for their annual. I got in. At 18 years old, my first museum show. And then I got into 2 consecutive ones after that also. Civil rights was in the early 60s. At the time that my husband and I got married. We really had a hard time. There was the Watts riots in LA around that time, and we left. We went to Paris, and we lived there for a year. I really felt so free as an artist. The French attitude, the European attitude towards art is just, it doesn't matter if you were Chinese, black, or whatever. You're an American artist. It was a totally different label. The fact that it was great being in a culture that really appreciated art. For art. And then we moved to Spring Street in Soho. There was nothing there but these light manufacturing buildings that were abandoned. And we were the only ones in the building at that time, but then other artists began to move in. So it was really great. It was fantastic. After Paris and New York, we were more accepted. We had decided we weren't going to work for anyone. We were going to make it as artists. So we had to really be smart about what we were doing. There's a lot of suffering. But see, if you really want something, really want it, you'll find a way and you'll work for it. There's an aesthetic which is called Ma, M-A. And what it is the harmony between line and space, and also space within space. The negative space around space. And I said, wow, that's really what I'd like to start doing. And that's where the curvilinear, just the curvilinear paintings came about. The curvilinear paintings were so difficult to achieve, but for me that was like, in a sense, so gratifying too, that I could actually create something like this, which was, for me, monumental. Because of the imagery. I was like breaking through something, breaking through a certain aesthetic point of view and making it work. Ken Nolan came to the studio. They had a concept in mind. They wanted to make it an outstanding show that had never been put together before. Not just with black artists, but all these heavy hitters. A show in Houston at the Menil Collection, that's great. And that was all that there was to it at the time. And I didn't realize I was going to be the only woman. One of the curvilinears that was in the show, Green Dawn, originally that was the apex of my being informed by the Japanese aesthetic of Ma. And I look at it closely and I said, wow, well, how did I get that line so perfect? The attention that I was given throughout my life or career as an artist was always sporadic. I mean, but they were major, like, attention getters, and then, like, it would fizzle out. Like when I was in the Whitney Annual, someone said, oh, within 3 months you're going to have a major gallery. Well, I waited, nothing happened, you know, because maybe because I was a woman, maybe minority, who knows? But that's the way it was. But I did always think, gee, I'm as good as any male artist. If I'd see a painting or hear that someone had something or had a show, and I'd say, gee, I'm as good as that. But I never said, why not me? I always said, I'm as good at that, and it just made me work harder. My show at Hale's Gallery in New York, I was the inaugural exhibition. I opened the gallery. I'm very much interested in mythology and archaeology. When a civilization no longer exists, the foundations of the structures that existed before are the ones which are left. As minimal as those are, if you dig them up, you'll see where a house once stood, a village existed, but that's all. None of these paintings have titles per se, but they do have the coordinates where they are situated on the planet. This painting is representative of Stonehenge. It's symbolic of it. You know, the circle, the half circle, is indicative of the summer solstice, and the squares are the monuments of Stonehenge. The other one is Baalbek. It's in the Middle East. And this huge stone over here is called the pregnant woman stone. And I said, oh, I have to do something with that. Now, what if I just let everything run? The conflux paintings are, in a sense, the meeting of two streams of thought. The conflux of using the stain paintings and the handmade paper, which are 100% linen fiber and based on watermarks. I did stain paintings with diluted oil so that it was liquefied. I had eliminated so much that there was nothing left on the canvas, except now just color, just very loose color. I just let it hang. I would rotate the canvas around, let it drip this way, rotate the canvas around, let it go another way. And I had the privilege of experimenting. Michelle said the 50th anniversary of the deluxe show is coming up, and you were the only woman, and it would really be great to have some of your work represented in an exhibition. What she wanted to do was not give me a show of my contemporary work, but a show that was indicative of the work that I had shown there 50 years ago. This painting had really been a learning curve for me because it's the only way that I could make sense out of the communication between two quantum particles, because they do inform one another. And so there's a response going back and forth between these quantum particles over vast distances of space. It can happen faster than the speed of light. And so what I wanted to indicate was, you'll see one color, which is the same color, like yellow line, going to the opposite end, and it comes back to the other end. And all these things are just interacting constantly. And that's what quantum entanglement is. I mean, in my view as an artist, I'm trying to visualize this. As a woman and as an older woman, it's nice to be given this attention now, because I'm hoping that this will encourage women who have given up. You can't give up your dream, and there's always hope. The thing is, it depends on you. It really does. You have to inspire yourself as an artist by what's around you, by what you hear, by what you see, and what you feel. These younger people sometimes ask me, well, what should I do? And I said, just be true to yourself. Find out who you are and stick to it. Because, you know, in the final analysis, you don't want someone to tell you who you are. That's the whole trick. What art has done for me throughout my life is given me validation for being here, for being on earth. And that at least I can leave something behind.